Return to Pacific Coast Highway is an exhibition by Ottawa photographer Sarah Anderson at the School of the Photographic Arts, Ottawa. And to find out more about it, I'm joined in the studio by Sarah Anderson. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Sarah, this is very much a literal return to the Pacific Coast for you because it's not the first time that you were there. Tell me a bit about what this trip meant to you.
It meant a lot. In 1987, my parents and myself as a baby, we went from Ottawa across Canada down the Pacific Coast Highway, eventually ending in Texas, our journey. And I decided to revisit the drive in October.
Yeah, so I mean, you went to a lot of the same places. How did those places feel to you?
There was a lot of nostalgia when I was doing the drive and a lot of solitude. And there's one place in particular, I have a video of it in the show. I visited a spot where my father is standing holding me as a child, and I managed to find the exact same spot. 25 years later, I stood in the same spot, and I videoed myself doing so. And I felt a strong connection to my past, and was thinking about how my life has developed from being a baby and then being in the same spot now.
What do these spaces say to you photographically? Because they seem to be very wide open kind of spaces.
Yeah, it was it was somewhat isolated, and I think I felt that it was a very foggy trip for the most part until you get to San Francisco. So I was experiencing that sort of mental fog as well, if that makes sense. And it was just a really incredible experience.
You also had to deal with a few challenges on this trip.
Yeah. So my journey lasted a week, and then I ended up going to Las Vegas to meet my boyfriend who flew from Ottawa. We headed back to Los Angeles. And when I was in Los Angeles, I was robbed and ended up losing all my film, which was in the rental car that was stolen. And it took some time, but I was eventually reunited with my film thanks to the West Covina Police Department.
You were lucky.
Yeah, I was very lucky. It was a pretty devastating experience to lose those photographs from the entire journey. And then to get them back made them all that more special. Tell
me a bit about you and travel, because I gather you have a thing about travel.
Yeah, I mean, since I was a baby, as I said, I've been doing road trips with my parents. We used to drive to Florida every year. I would go to school in Florida for 3 months out of every year until 4th grade. So traveling, especially around North America, has been a huge part of my life. And in photography, you have to look through a viewfinder to take your photo, and I feel like the driving, all these road trips I've been on have influenced me to become a photographer.
That's interesting. You actually have like some video of you like taken from the car, right?
Yeah. So I did a video. It was up on the vernissage, which was last Friday, and I set up a tripod on the passenger seat and drove the coast from north to south and shot out the window. So I made a film. It was about 45 minutes long of a variety of those clips. And it kind of, I had a lot of comments, people saying that they felt like they were there. They got to experience the drive with me.
I've been talking to, actually, before we wrap up, what's your next project?
Actually, this Friday I have an artist talk for the show, and that's Friday at 3 p.m. at CHUO. And then my next project, I'm considering photographing my old classmates when I went to school in Fort Myers, because I did
Florida.
In Florida, because I did do a project on Florida last year. So I was considering revisiting that project.
But, like I was going to say, I've been talking to Sarah Anderson about Return to the Pacific Coast Highway, which is on until March 20th at CHUO, the School of the Photographic Arts in Ottawa, which is at 168 Dalhousie. Thanks very much for dropping by to tell us about it.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's 5:53. This is Click Here on CHUO FM 89. Click Here is heard every Wednesday. It's heard every Wednesday because our listeners support